Good morning. Hello, guys. It's me, George. And today I want to talk about something that happened to me a couple of days ago that left me with some questions that I had in relation to the witchcraft community. Now, before I begin talking about this experience, I want to say that I'm not going to name and shame this person or drag their name under the dirt. One, because I'm not that type of person. Two, because I can't be asked. I've got better things to invest my energy and time in. And three, because I think the way the person spoke to me, they're not deserving of any of my energy, any of my time. This is the video I'm going to do because it poses a broader question. They're just being used as an example. There's been a rant here, absolutely, but for the way they spoke to me, I'm not investing any more energy or time into them or their shop. I will never, ever buy at their shop ever again. But a couple of days ago, I walked into an occult and a witchcraft shop, inquiring and seeing if they were able to stock my book, Barbarous Words. And from the get-go, this person was pretty rude. They was on their phone. They didn't really look up at me much. And I find that incredibly rude. I understand people get busy, so don't get me wrong. And I think if you're an independent business, you do get busy. I think it's really important to consider these kind of pointers, especially if you run your own business. But at the same time, if someone is a customer or someone is coming in inquiring or wanting to network with you and is part of the community, you should probably give them eye contact. The main thing that happened once I began to get eye contact, the person then began to speak about witchcraft as if I was a beginner, as if I knew nothing about witchcraft and I knew nothing about the community. Even though I had come in and literally said, "Hey, I've wrote a book," the person just was completely non-responsive of that. They just showed no interest whatsoever. They didn't even ask me about my book. Yeah, so fucking rude. But they were speaking as if I wasn't part of that community. When it comes to witchcraft, we do this and we do that, and this is a thing that is very special to us witches, and it was really, really fucking strange. I've been practicing witchcraft for over 22 years. And even if I was practicing witchcraft for a month, for 2 months, it doesn't matter. You still give someone a level and degree of respect and just civilness, just being a nice fucking human being to someone. So it doesn't even matter how long you've been practicing, but the way in which she was speaking, it was almost as if to be like, no, you're not part of this community. You're not a witch. You're not part of the witchcraft community, but and there was so much ego involved. And I was left with a further question. Where does ego lie within witchcraft? It was one of my friends who I'm not going to mention. She didn't want to be mentioned in this video, but, there was a couple of people that have had very similar experiences with this person, that I've spoke to. But one of my friends was saying, at what point does ego play a part within witchcraft, and where does it become useful and where does it not? And I want to speak about that because I've been involved in the witchcraft community for a very long time. My first pagan festival I ever went to, and first experience of the witchcraft community in general, was when I was 13. And, I've been practicing since I've been 10 years old. I'm 32 now, coming up to 33. And it's something that I have been involved in for a very long time. And I've seen the really positive side of it, and don't get me wrong, this weekend I went to the witches market and it was lovely. Had some really interesting conversations with some people, including something I'll mention in a minute as well. Met some lovely people. All the store holders were an absolute delight. Had some really cool and interesting conversations, not always just about witchcraft as well. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really nice. But I have seen throughout the years this level of ego within people that practice witchcraft or some form of occultism. And to a degree, I think a level of ego is needed. I do. And I think a level of ego is needed in order to cast magic. Because if you're willing something to happen, you need to be like, no, no, I am going to make this happen. Because of course, when you work magic, there is particularly within folk magic, it's very much focused around spirits, deities, saints, that kind of thing. We work psalms, so we're incorporating the use of other powers coming into our magic, coming into our praxis, into our spell work, but also you're incorporating yourself. So you do need a level of ego, as if to be like, no, I'm going to make this work. This will work because I have the ability to. So there is that level of self-belief there. And to a degree, a certain level of ego, particularly, and this is a thing I've noticed because I have friends, a very close friend I have is a ceremonial witch. When it comes to ceremonial magic, there also is that kind of level of ego there. Incorporated, in ceremonial magic, they will bind and constrain spirits and stuff like that. That's not my shit. That's not my thing at all. And it's not something I've ever felt comfortable with. I've spoken a couple of times on that, but I do know that that is a thing that's used within some forms of ceremonial magic. So I do think that you need that level of ego there. I do think that that level of belief is necessary for spell work. However, I also think on top of that, that witchcraft is a spiritual path. It's a spiritual practice, and to some it's also a religion. And with any spiritual practice and spirituality, there is a recognition that we are ultimately part of the divine, that the divine is around us. Animism, spirits are around us, but also an element of deity, of the divine, is within every living thing. Nature is sacred. We come from the earth. There's that kind of, that belief that we're basically, all of us are, children of the divine. All of us are, to a degree, hold some divinity, and that, that sort of thing. And that is a lovely belief. And I find it really puzzling when you find some witches that have so much ego that they don't allow, and I find it quite sad that they don't allow, and not just witches, practitioners of the occult in general, that they will dismiss anything someone says, if they don't fit their type, if they're not wearing certain clothing, or they don't appear a certain way, or, if they've only been doing it for a bit. And, it's a conversation that I actually had at the witches market with someone, and we were saying, someone that has been doing it for 6 months, actually, and I've had cases where they've taught me something, and I've been practicing for over 20 years, but because they're a beginner, they see things with fresh eyes. They see things that you don't necessarily see. And that is something that's actually really, really important to know. It's really, really important that actually it's good to be open. It's good to be open to learning from everybody, and also for that person that runs a shop. If you think about that, there will be beginners walking in that shop. And if that's the first impression they have of the community, of witchcraft, the poor fucking bastards, like seriously, the poor fucking bastards, because, that is extremely off-putting. And it's just not necessary or not needed by fucking anyone. But, there does reach a point where, of course, if you practice witchcraft, perhaps the reason ego steps in is because we are able to make change. We are able to cause and create a change within the physical world around us, by our emotions, by our internal map, by how we feel. And to a degree, there is that element of after a spell. And I've had it, and I feel like everyone does have it, when you're like, fuck yes. Like, yes! Like, and you kind of have like a little skip, and inside you do a little sex wee, and you're like, ooh, well, not necessarily an actual sex wee, but you know what I mean. You're just like, yes, I fucking done that. And that's awesome, don't get me wrong. And I do think everyone to a degree has that. But I think that you can't allow that to become the whole entirety of your practice, because if you do that, you're unable to connect with other people. You're unable to connect with different beliefs, different witchcraft and occult beliefs, and to a degree, unable to connect with the bigger picture, with the spirits, with the divine, because you kind of sat there, you know, and I've seen people that take credit, magic wise, that have took credit for things that they quite frankly haven't done. And I've seen that, and it's really fucking cringy. And it's not needed. You know, why? I think the bigger question is for people like that, why do you feel the need to belittle other people? Why do you feel the need to try and big up everything you do and to make someone feel smaller than you? Is it because you actually feel small, so you therefore have to make other people feel small because you actually feel insecure about your practice and you feel insecure about yourself? And that's what I think it is. Um, and, you know, not everyone, because I think people are a whole spectrum of colour when it comes to this. You know, I don't think it's a black and white issue. I think ego exists in people for different reasons. But, you know, it's something that I think is an interesting conversation. But I think it's something that needs to be spoken about because, you know, for me, I've reached a point in my life where people like that, I don't associate with them. And I used to be friends with people like that. I used to hang out with people like that and associate with people like that. And I just don't anymore because I can't be asked, because I want to speak to a normal, credible human being that has security within themselves and within their own practice, enough not to slate down other people's practices and to not put people down. Because, and I've said this for years, but it rings so true to me. Andrew Chumley, if someone knocks on the doors and the gods answer, who am I to challenge the integrity of their path? So true. Someone else's personal practice has nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to say, oh, you need to do it like this or you need to do it like that. It's none of my fucking business. It's someone's personal practice. And that is it. And I don't have a say over that. You know, I don't have a say over how that person connects with the divine. I don't have a say over how that person connects with the spirits. That's ridiculous to think that you are someone who is so high and mighty that you have a say over Godhead, over divinity, over... Stop it. Sit down, you know, have a fucking word with yourself. Like, who the fuck do you think you are, you know? It's just fucking mental. And so I think that a lot of these people's actions speak loud, and they kind of emanate, actually, if you take a step back, as frustrating as it can be. And I was really frustrated, I have to be honest, after the encounter I mentioned earlier. I was extremely fucking frustrated, actually. I wanted to go back in and rip their fucking head off their shoulders. But once taking a breather, once taking a step back, I realised that actually it's not my problem. It's not up to me to fix someone who is wrong, who treats other people like crap, who's quite disrespectful of other people's time, who wants to exclude someone from the community. It's not my shit. That's their shit. And that's something that they have to deal with. That's not me. I don't have to deal with that. And I'm glad I don't have to deal with that, you know. So I think sometimes it's about taking a step back, about taking that deep breath and being like, do you know what? You don't impact my practice. You don't impact my life. And ultimately, someone will only impact your life and your practice if you allow them to. And sometimes it's about saying, do you know what? Actually, you feel all these things. I feel sorry for you, but I'm not investing any of my time, positively or negatively. And after this video, I am not investing any more of my time and investment in this shop or person. Fuck off. But it did pose another part, you know, that it did pose a question that I was like, actually, this is pretty important because, you know, this is something that does need to be spoken about, because I've encountered it so much within my life, within the pagan community. And not everyone is like that, by the way, guys. Not everyone is like that. However, you do get some people like that. And, you know, for the people that are like that, I think it's about surrounding yourself with people who practice, who are positive people, who want to add to your practice, who want to empower you, you know. And I think it's about being around someone that empowers you, that lifts you up, that doesn't drag you down, that doesn't bring you down. You know, be with someone that lifts you up, you know. I was speaking to an artist on Saturday at the witches market, and she was saying, you know, I practice but then I doubt myself, and then I don't do it, and then, you know, I practice again and then I doubt myself, and I just don't think I'm gonna be able to make anything happen. And, you know, I looked at her and it kind of came to me, and I was like, look at your art. Like, you literally have something in your head internally and you physically manifest that. So if your artwork is that influential and that beautiful and that amazing, and you create such a beautiful physical change from yourself, from within, think of what your magic can do. You're already, to a degree, you're manifesting what is inside you. I'm not calling that magic, but I'm saying you're already bringing something out of you that was already inside of you, and you're bringing something out that is beautiful, that has a really lovely effect on the world. And I think it's about that. It's about lifting people up. You know, if we're going to be a community, we need to lift people up. We can't be making other people feel like shit, because the witchcraft community and the occult community has had it fucking hard over the years. We really have, you know, to a degree where some people feel like they can't even be themselves around everyday normal Joe Blogs or Jane Doe, you know. But if we're in a community, we have to help each other. We have to lift each other up. And it's about that. It's about positively impacting someone's life and positively impacting someone. Of course, you're not going to get on with everyone. And I'm not saying that, you know, but I'm saying that if you're a community and someone hasn't done anything bad to you, don't belittle them. Don't make them feel like crap. Lift them up. You know, especially if you're meant to be so influential within that community, lift that person up, lift people up, you know, pay interest to people, give people their points of view. Don't dismiss someone's points of view because they've been practicing for 3 months or even 20 years, or it doesn't matter. If that person's a human being, they have thoughts, they have opinions that actually you don't have to agree on. And as long as they're not hurtful, you know, that's okay. But you don't have to agree on those opinions, but you certainly don't have to slate someone down or make someone feel belittled, or judge someone just because of who they are. Yeah. This is like more of a ramble, but I hope it's kind of helped, and I hope it's addressed issues within the community. I hope you guys have a lovely day. And like I said, it's not dragging anyone's name under the dirt. It's using that as an example. And I'm trying to turn a negative interaction with someone into a positive conversation that could actually be beneficial. And I hope anyone listening to this video that is going through something similar, because at some point I feel like everyone will go through this shit within the community. I hope that this video has helped. I really do, because I've experienced this my whole fucking life with people. And it's boring and it's tiresome and it's just fucking bland. You know, it's really fucking boring. So I just don't invest my time in those people anymore. But if this video has just one impact on a person and it helps, that's enough for me. Over and out. Peace. Have a lovely day.